Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome in. There we go. To another week of
y'all just saw that game.
HBCU Sports Lab. Charles Bishop here, Wilton Jackson, AD Drew. We're coming to you another week, man. Of course, welcome into episode 506 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and the HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCUs, along with my co-host. Of course, I mentioned Wilton and AD Drew. What's going on, gentlemen?
It's going good, Charles. You see, he didn't give you not a minute into the show before he hit you with that.
Man, y'all, boy, we don't get into some more FAMU because y'all striking all over the place right now. So.
we talking about snakes, not catfish now, okay? We're not going to talk about all that stuff. But anyway, I was just hoping that the FAMU UAPB game ended before we went on the air. And with that, I hate to say it, a little league play, but it's something that I used to do when I was coaching Little League Baseball, and it worked. And
what's the story? What's the story? Tell us about it. What happened?
Oh, bottom of the eighth inning.
We're talking slack softball.
Right. Yeah, slack softball, bottom of the eighth inning. Slap hitter, she slapped the ball over the third baseman's head, down the left field line for a single. Got on, butted over to second base. There was the next batter was not bunting the sacrifice, but actually bunting for a hit. Mm-hmm. Got the hit, slid into first base, stood up on first base, faked like she was going to second base. First baseman looked back, she waited there. And as soon as the first baseman took 2 steps to throw the ball back to the circle, she takes off for second base. Mind you, does a runner on third base. Mm-hmm. So what's the natural instinct for a baseball or softball player to do? Go after that trail runner that's closest to him. Yep. And she got it. She did the rundown thing and started dancing out there between first and second base while the runner on third base is sneaking down the line. And then she takes off for home, throws the ball home, play is late, safe. FAMU wins 1-0 on, for lack of a better words, the Little League walk-off.
Wow.
You have got to go back and watch that. Yeah. As I was coming in the studio, getting all my notes together for the show, and I'm watching it on the screen, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I had to call my fellow Rattler as soon as it was over. He was like, "Yeah, I saw it, man." So shout out to Brian Poole for the birthday boy.
We taking a look at SWAC softball championship going on May 7th through the 10th. They're down in Gulfport. Of course, you can catch that on SWAC Digital. They're doing a great job in terms of the games that's going on thus far. Also, take a look, MEAC. They also have the MEAC softball championship. It begins tomorrow, May 8th. Yes. So they will be on the campus of Norfolk State University. So great action in terms of softball going on. And AD already got some play-by-play going for us. Of course, they had to be with FAMU Wilton. So
he wasn't gonna deviate from that at all. As soon as the show started.
But as soon as this game is over, as soon as this podcast is over, I will pick up the Prairie View game in progress. Just our respect as a media member.
I will be sure to start. I will be tuning in. I've been in travel status today. Of course, we'll get into it a little bit. I'll be doing play-by-play down here, the Black College World Series. But we'll talk about some of the teams coming up in that. But News and notes. We start off as we always do. Start off with news and notes. Angel Jackson. She got drafted by the WNBA Las Vegas Aces, but she was cut during training camp. But still another great showing, I think. For Jackson State to have a player drafted. Hopefully, at some point, one will stick. But Angel Jackson, she'll be looking to pick up with another WNBA team. We'll see if those skills transfer. Wilton, I mean, you got an opportunity to watch Angel up close, man. What do you think her chances are in terms of finding another team to stick with?
I think she has a good chance of potentially finding another spot. It may not come right away, but I want to give kudos to her for sure, because a lot of times some of the HBCU players or players from like smaller schools will get cut initially on those first cuts. And so I'm not going to lie, up until yesterday, before she got cut, I was thinking to myself, she made it through these first two cuts, she might have a chance to like really, really make the team. And my fingers were crossed for her, but I think she has a good chance of potentially landing somewhere else. Again, it might take some time. She still may have to potentially play overseas at in another team, but I definitely think she has a shot potentially to still play in the WNBA for sure.
No doubt about it. Just don't go to Russia. Don't want to go to Russia.
No, I would avoid.
Holler at Brittany before you go.
Exactly. At all costs, we stay away from Russia right now. So we take a look at some other news and notes. And Morel sent us this today, but hit on HBCU game day. Grambling State's women, they will be facing LSU next season, and they're going to be playing at the Brookshire Grocery Arena on Sunday, December 8th, which is a Russ Potts production in conjunction with Brookshire Grocery Arena, and the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission announced the game on Tuesday. This contest will be the 5th meeting all time between Grambling and LSU. Of course, Courtney Simmons, she's going into her 2nd season, has this Grambling team on the upstart, guys. So that should be a great game between Grambling and LSU. Oh,
yeah. Two Louisiana-based teams. Courtney Simmons, like the work that she's doing, definitely for those who may not know the work that she has been doing with that program, definitely somebody to keep an eye on going into next season for sure.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Take a look at some other news and notes, and we'll tread lightly on this, but we'll go here. Florida A&M received a near $250 million donation, and this is sent to us from HBCU Sports. Great people at HBCU Sports, but FAMU received a gift from a groundbreaking farming organization, the Isaac Batterson 7th Family Trust, and their CEO, Gregory Drami, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, AD, bestowed a $237.7 million award to FAMU's foundation, more than double the university's total endowment of $121 million. It is also the largest single donation to an HBCU ever. AD Drew,
why do you was gonna start with me on this one?
Well, you already here to start the show, son.
He was like,
thought I'd go back to you.
What's your question, Chuck?
Largest HBCU donation ever. Your thoughts? You're in that FAMU family, so I had to come to you. And you know how y'all come to me about everything under the sun with regards to Jackson State. I thought I had to start with you.
Well, let's be real. We will talk about the elephant in the room. There's a lot of skepticism out there about the nature of this this donation, whether the person was vetted, all kinds of drama and speculation around this. As a Rattler alum, I definitely want to believe that everything about this donation is true. I'm hoping that it is true. As a business person, I know that it won't. It may take up to 6 months to see if the donation comes through, if it's for the full amount or whatever, because it did involve stocks. So we know how stocks can be volatile and everything else. But I need to say this to everybody, and I said this last night on the BCSN SportsWrap. FAMU is a public institution. That means they have certain reporting requirements. So if I remember correctly, the fiscal year of FAMU should end June 30th, which is end of second quarter. So I'm assuming probably around by the end of the third quarter, we'll have all those annual reports and everything that you look for. At that point in time, that's when I would lay my judgment on what's happening with this donation, good, bad, ugly, whatever. The only thing that I really want to say is this brother tried to do it. Was it Coastal Carolina? What was the other school that he tried to do this at?
I think it was Coastal Carolina.
I think it was Coastal Carolina. And because of all the backlash and the barbershop talk and the street committee talk and all the other stuff, he pulled his money away. I want to caution all of the rappers out there, because yeah, it's fine for everybody at HBCU diaspora to talk, but it's really to the rappers. We don't need to be adding any fuel to the fire with this and give this man an excuse to pull it away. Because if he's going to fall on his face, let him do it on his own. Let us not give him an excuse to do it. Let's just sit back. If it's there, appreciate it. If it's not, hey, are we in the same spot that we was yesterday? Or beforehand, you know? And I think there were too many people with initials behind their name, EDSs, PhDs, and other initials behind their name to get catfished in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, Wilton, I mean, your thoughts. We have to trust the vetting procedure, correct?
Right. Absolutely. And if the powers that be, trusted this for it to happen, then you have to, at least at some point, in some degree, put respect in the folks that's in charge, because it falls on them too.
Exactly. And I'll say this: one of the people who was on that committee is the dean of the school where I got my undergraduate degree from, Dr. Shante Friday Stroud. Now, she was not dean at that point in time; she was just there. But you know, me just knowing her, she's a very bright person, you know. So I don't think she's going to get the wool pulled over her eyes.
There it is. I mean, I don't think I could have said it any better. I mean, normally we see some donations and some gifts around this time of the year. Mm-hmm. And first and foremost, let me shout out congratulations to all the graduates. We've had graduations last weekend, this coming up weekend with Texas Southern University as well, Jackson State last weekend, but all over. I definitely want to send a hearty congratulations for everybody putting in their 4, 5, 6, 7 years, however long it took you, but congratulations. It's important that we acknowledge you here with this podcast for your efforts in terms of walking across the stage. So kudos to everybody. So I definitely want to put that out there. Let's take a look also. Airline gifts, HBCU graduating class round trip tickets. This came to us from HBCU Game Day. Paul Playing class of 2024. To their surprise on May 4th, everyone received 2 round trip tickets from Southwest Airlines, who is the official airline of the HBCU located in Dallas, Texas. The tickets are good for any Southwest domestic destination. Definitely want to put that out there. Definitely, like I said, kudos to all the graduates. And man, what a great time it is to be a graduate. You can look under your chair and get something, huh?
Exactly.
Only thing I got was the letter saying, "When you gonna start with your loan repayments?" That's the only thing I got when I walked across the stage. Diploma in one hand, bill in the other.
There you go. Phone in one hand, bill in the other. Man, when we come back, we will talk with Wilton. Man, you were at the presser for Margaret Richards. What does it mean for Jackson State's women's basketball program? What does it look like? What are the expectations? We'll be right back here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome back into the Sports Lab with my co-host, tonight, Wilton Jackson. Wilton, brother, man, yes. I tell you what, Jackson State's women's basketball, there's AD Drew. Big Monday pressure.
Yeah.
Set the scene for us because
absolutely.
What we have now at Jackson State is we have expectations that are I'm out the screen here.
Yeah, you can't.
With regards to women's basketball, I think the announcement caught some people by surprise with regards to Margaret Richards taking over the helm at Jackson State. But you were there. What was your sense in regards to the expectations around Jackson State women's basketball now?
I think that fans, I'll say this. When she came in, of course, there was the hoorays, the claps, she's coming in, she's entering. And you could kind of tell in the crowd that they were glad that obviously somebody else has been hired. But then there's this sentiment of okay, well, yes, somebody else has been hired, but is she really ready to step in and do what Tamika Reed did? And believe it or not, she's going to hear that. Probably she's going to feel that all throughout the offseason, even once the season starts. It's really, that's just what it's going to be. And granted, she's gonna put her stamp on things, because even when she spoke to the crowd and talked about her expectations, what she wants to do, what she hopes to continue to build on, what Coach Reed started or what she brought to Jackson State, you could still feel it was just kind of she's motivated, she's encouraged. But again, if Jackson State fans better than I do, there's gonna be the comparison of, well, if she loses one game, was she the right person? Is she the right person for the job? This and that, and then it's gonna go, well, she's winning some games, and it flip flops. So I think from that, to your point of what you were saying about expectations, the expectations are very much high, and I think right now the only thing that you can hope for is that she's gonna be able to continue to build on what Coach Reed built at Jackson State. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the same standard that we've seen over the last 6-7 years.
AD Drew, what is it like, man? I want to throw this out there in terms of the pressure on a new coach, especially when you're trying to fill the shoes of a legend. And I thought Sadie McGee was a legend with regards to Jackson State women's basketball. But Tamika, in many ways, not only met that standard, but exceeded that Sadie McGee standard, and there's a trophy named after Sadie McGee. So, right. So the question becomes, for a coach coming into a legend's shoes, or in this case, stilettos, how do you manage the expectations of the fans?
Sadie McGee was Bear Bryant. It took, 30, almost 40 years before Nick Saban, before people in Alabama were happy with Nick Saban. So I say Tamika Reed is Nick Saban. Now, mind you, Gene Stallings won a championship in the midst of all that, and has no respect hardly in Alabama. Yeah, he's got his statue because he won a championship, but he really he doesn't even get talked about when you talk about University of Alabama. Those are the two people. That's what you're walking into at Jackson State. Let's be real. She has nowhere to go but down. And that's not bad. But I think the new format, they're going to 16 conference games. She goes 14-2 next year. It's a letdown. Even though she wins the SWAC at 14-2, it's a letdown because she's not 16-0. And even if she goes 16-0, it's still not as good because she didn't go 18-0 like Tamika did. That's what she's walking into. Unrealistic expectations. As a coach, you can only control the controllables, which you can control. What is that? The players that you bring in,
right?
The preparation that you do in practice, and things of that nature. When the ball goes up, coach ain't hit a jump shot in 50 years. So they can only control what they can control. I hope this young lady doesn't let that stress her out, doesn't let the barbershop talk and the street committee deal with her, because you never. Let's be real. You never want to be the person who replaces the legend. You want to be the person who replaces the person who replaced the legend.
Is there ever a way to massage the street committee? I mean, really? I mean, that is.
The street committee was talking trash on Tamika, Charles.
You need the street committee because that's their job to be the eyes and ears around the street and give the gossip, and it's going to get back to whoever needs to get back to anyway. Every time.
Yeah.
Barbershop, beauty shop, the whole 9 yards. When I was in Tuskegee, we had the coffee club because they met at McDonald's every morning, and they were there, and all they did was talk about whoever, whatever, and all that stuff. City officials, basketball coaches, high school football coaches. It was called the coffee club, and every city has a gathering place and a crew like that, male and or female. So, here's the question that I have for you guys, though. With everything that's happening around SWAC women's basketball, and there's going to be some type of shift in power. Let's just be real. Yep. Jackson State may still be at the top, but they're going to be people coming to challenge them. Right now, May 7th, who would you say your top 3 teams would be?
Charles, you want to go first?
Yeah, I would say I think there's a lot of excitement. I think around what Don Thornton does at Alabama A&M. I think, but it's a hard question to answer on May 7th because there is still so much turnover that happens in regards to a roster. But if you're taking a look at the tailwinds from the SWAC tournament, you definitely have to say Grambling is right there in the mix with regards to what Courtney Simmons was able to do. There's been a shift in power with Don going from UAPB to Alabama A&M. So I think there's a lot of enthusiasm around the Alabama A&M program. Let's see what she can bring over there. And I live by, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. In this case, to beat a woman, you got to beat the woman, which is the Jackson State program. But I think that's a seismic shift in regards to Jackson State's program right now because, and it's not unheard of. Tamika Reed's bringing her staff from Jackson State to Charlotte. I think that's par for the course. I think for whatever reason, that caught a few people by surprise. I think even Tamika had a tweet about it, but nothing out of the ordinary to me. But, I think you have an opportunity for a reset, if you will, for Jackson State basketball. What does that reset look like? That's $1 million question right now because I think Margaret Richards, what she was able to do at Alabama A&M is she sort of grew that program back up again. When she took over, they were in the doldrums, and she was able to bring a lot of respectability with regards to that program. So let's see what this Jackson State reset looks like. Are they able to recruit the same way that they were able to recruit? We know Wilton, just being boots on the ground there in Jackson, there's a wellspring of talent just in Jackson and the surrounding areas and in the state of Mississippi. Can she close the gate, if you will, or close the doors to Jackson and bring some of that talent over to Jackson State to sort of reset the program. It'll be interesting to see what happens. What are your thoughts?
Right. No, I agree with you on that. I mean, and just kind of looking at, well, she didn't necessarily win a championship, say, at Alabama A&M, but she definitely has some pretty talented players on that roster. Just this past season. So we know that she can recruit good players. She didn't beat Tamika Reed, but she can recruit good players. And so when you think about that, to your point, I don't think you can necessarily give your top three teams, and I'm kind of going to side with you on this in terms of this shift. We don't really know what this shift is going to look like. But if I had to kind of gauge and see what teams are probably going to be teams to keep an eye on going forward next year, definitely Grambling for sure. Alabama A&M for obviously Coach Thorne, those reasons there. Don't sleep on FAMU either.
I was about to say.
I wanna do this to him, you know. Yeah, like don't sleep on FAMU in that regard as well, because they could be in as well.
It's her first recruiting class. She didn't get a chance to recruit last year. She took the job so late. If they weren't already on campus.
It's a very good point.
And I hate to say it, Wilton and Charles, is don't forget about the other school down there in Florida, the one on the beach. You know, they're another team that we need to look out for. Bethune-Cookman. And what about Alcorn? Alcorn made that run in the tournament. Now the question is, can they make it for an entire season? They did good in the sprint, but can they do the marathon?
Yeah, can they do the marathon? $1 million question. Great a conversation in regards to the presser, Margaret Richards. We'll shift gears after this break. We'll talk a little bit of baseball as we take a look at the Black College World Series. You got some NAIA programs. You got some Division II programs. Great baseball on deck starting on tomorrow. We'll be right back here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back into Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Wilton Jackson, AD Drew with me tonight. You know what, AD? I'm going back to that last segment, man. You made me think about those old coffee clubs at McDonald's, man, talking about Jackson State football. Wilton, you know, Adams Corner, hey,
Yep.
it would give Coach Gordon all sorts of hell.
Adams Corner, Valley Street,
Valley Street.
I'm thinking about all those places.
Yeah.
Like I said, every city has one.
Every city has one. No doubt about it. Let's get into talk a little bit about baseball, Black College World Series here in Montgomery, Alabama. I traveled over here today. I'll be doing play-by-play on tomorrow. And we got some great teams when we're taking a look at some of these teams tentatively scheduled. We're taking a look at Edward Waters getting it on with Wiley in the morning. The 12:30 game will be Bluefield State versus Miles. And Talladega and Florida Memorial will finish things out. But you know what, AD Drew, man, I got to turn my, antenna to you, man. I know you know these teams like the back of your hand. Edward Waters, man, the finish they had to get over here to the Black College World Series. Ooh. Man, what is it that we're going to take a look at over the next few days with regards to these teams?
Tournament Tigers. Edward Waters, over the last 3 years or so, they turn it on during the tournament. They have a average regular season, but whatever type of tournament they play in, be it the one that you're there in Montgomery, or be it the SIAC tournament, or when they were in NAIA in the AII tournament, they just turn it on come tournament time. Don't know what it is with that light switch that Coach Johnson is able to have his guys flip on, but they flip it on. Did anybody happen to see that stat line from that game? Edward Waters had 10 runs on 6 hits.
I did notice 10 runs on 6 hits. They made every one of those hits count.
They made every one of those hits count. Now, mind you, it helps when the other team makes 5 errors. But 10 runs on 6 hits, and it also helps when you get 4 of those runs on one swing, as they did in the 8th inning.
You know my pet peeve. I don't want to see multiple error games on the college level. It's just something eats me up about fundamental plays. Quit throwing in behind runners. Stop doing stuff like that. Just get the out. Don't prolong the inning.
And well, what about pet peeve number 2, Charles? HBP.
You gotta throw strikes, man.
Gotta throw strikes, because the only thing that was, I don't know if it's worse just to walk somebody on 4 or 5 pitches, when you get to ball 8, ball 12 with some of these pitches, or to just pluck somebody in the rear because you lost your command of your fastball or your slide. Yeah. So that's just one of those things. But Edward Waters probably the second hottest team coming into this tournament, because the hottest team has to be Talladega.
Talk to him.
Did y'all see? Did y'all see the whooping that they put on Wiley in the GCAC tournament?
Yeah.
Oh my God! 25-2 in the championship game. Now, mind you, Wiley was out of pitching, just like we saw in the SIAC tournament when Savannah State ran out of pitching in the 8th inning. There was a point in time, and because I was there, I could tell you about it. Savannah State changed pitchers 4 consecutive batters, because they were trying to find somebody who had something left in the tank and could throw strikes. And a couple of guys, they got him in, threw 2-3 pitches and pluck somebody. Coach pulled them out like, nah, you ain't got it, man. Let me get somebody else. And they want to find somebody who can do it. Go ahead.
Let me throw this question out for both of you guys, especially when you start taking a look at, and we see this in baseball tournaments, these double elimination formats. But how big is that first day to really not eat into the bullpen so that you have some arms? How big is it that you get a great quality start that kind of set the tone for the tournament? Wilton, go for it.
I kind of feel like this: if you don't set the tone the right way, let's say you lose that game, you have to use that much more energy on the next day to rebound and make sure you get that win. Especially in regards to what you're saying, that double elimination format. So you're thinking to yourself, like, yeah, you have another chance to play, but at the same time, it's like, how many, like you said, how many arms have I potentially messed up, or not necessarily messed up, but like, how many fresh arms do I have to play in this potential elimination game? And if I don't win this game, I'm done.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think as important as day one is, because most people usually have their number ones pitching on day one. I think day 2 is probably better. Can you get some innings out your number 2 pitcher where they can go 7, 8 and not tax your bullpen? Also, whether you win or lose that first game, because if you can get by and you can go through 2 games with possibly 3 pitchers, maybe 4 pitchers, oh my God, you were set up for a good tournament. Because there are too many times in these double elimination brackets, especially for the team that's coming out the elimination bracket, where the two-way players having to pitch the championship game. And that is not a quality product when you've got a two-way player or your Tuesday starter having to pitch the championship game against somebody's number one or the number two starter.
And there were more. He throws out a great question because I was thinking along the same lines. Is it more important to win game one or to only use one or two pitchers?
Oh, you definitely want to win.
Yeah.
You definitely want to win because once you get into that elimination bracket, especially when you get into the elimination bracket on day one, that's the hard fight to try to get back in any bracket. And I'm going to say this. When is the last time if y'all have seen somebody win a baseball tournament coming out the elimination bracket? We see it in softball.
Yeah.
When do you see it in baseball? Not at our level. You don't see anybody coming out. The hell with winning the tournament. How many times do you even see a force the if game coming out the elimination bracket?
I gotta check my
You're thinking too hard.
My swag chat GPT on that. I want to answer that one. That was juicy. That was juicy. Somebody look that one up. Gotta find that one. Who's the last team that's come out of the elimination?
Well, last year we had it twice in that 4-team elimination. Both FAMU and Bethune came out of the elimination bracket. But that's the exception more than the rule. But that's a 4-team elimination. How many people come out of 6 or 8-team double elimination?
It's gonna be a chore. I tell you what. Look at that. Chuck knows SUB JSU out of the losers bracket recently. Whatever.
But that's 2 4-team. See, that's 2 4-team brackets. I challenge somebody to find an 8-team bracket where somebody has come out of the elimination bracket. But
let me throw this out here at JD. Who would be a surprise team? We talked about Edward Waters, talked about Talladega, but is there a surprise team in this Black College World Series?
Well, let's start with the obvious one, Florida Memorial, who just let their coach go. Well, I ain't gonna say let their coach go. There was a part in the ways this weekend. Don't know if it resignation or whatever, but there was a change. So Florida Memorial comes in under assistant coach Andre Payne. So the obvious is you're down your leader if you're Florida Memorial. Andre Payne is having to do 2 things. Now, he's having to do what he would normally do as an assistant coach, plus the duties of the head coach, filling out the lineup card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Don't know how many GAs and all that stuff that they have on their staff, but he's got a challenge ahead of him. So that would be the number 1 team that I would look at as far as a surprise team. Another team that if their pitching is right would be Miles. Miles impressed me in the SIAC tournament, but they, for lack of a better word, they ran out of pitching. And if I remember correctly, and I'm going off top of here, I think Miles wound up playing an extra inning game on day 1. So, and that's another thing that you got to look at, Charles. Extra inning games. You know, how does that extra inning game affect your pitching? Are you going to 2 ways in the extra inning, or because you use your regular pitchers in the extra inning game, that forces you into 2 ways the next day if you win that extra inning game. Whoever wins the extra inning game.
No doubt about it. Great points, AD. And you mentioned earlier the brackets come out today with regards to who's going where, Division II playoff?
I had that incorrect. NAIA softball brackets came out today, and I'll touch on that in a moment. Baseball brackets come out on Thursday. I'm going to give you one other nugget to look at, Charles. There are 3 teams in this tournament where their entire starting 8 is batting over 300.
Is that great hitting or bad pitching?
That's what you're going to come back and report to us after the tournament. but just the Bluefield State, Wiley, and Talladega, their entire starting 8s are all batting over 300, and one of those teams had everybody over 349, batting over 349.
So basically, what you're saying is, I will be seeing a lot of tremendous offense.
Yep.
Yes, you should be seeing a lot of tremendous offense. Now, what you'll be able to say is, AD, their numbers were skewed. They must have been playing some weak teams, or you're gonna come back and say, boy, that so and so from that team can really pound the crap out the ball.
Yep.
You'll be able to tell us real soon.
Man, no doubt, no doubt. We get it on tomorrow. Black College World Series here from Montgomery, Alabama. Looking forward to these teams: Edward Waters, Wiley, Bluefield, Miles, Talladega, and Florida Memorial. When we come back here on the Sports Lab, let's talk a little basketball, a little NBA basketball. We'll get into it. Fun stuff, man. I tell you what, if you don't believe about them Timberwolves right now, we'll get into it. We'll be right back here at the HBCU Sports Lab.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, clean bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome back inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Wilton Jackson, AD Drew, along with myself, Charles Bishop. AD, you had a quick shout out for somebody.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to Stillman softball as the only HBCU to make the NAIA softball tournament. They take 48 teams in the NAIA. They are the number 5 seed out of 5 seeds, and they will be going to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. They will be playing on the campus of William Carey.
Okay.
And their pod is Jessup out of California is the number 1. William Carey is the number 2. Reinhardt out of Georgia is the number 3. Indiana Southeast is the number 4. And they are scheduled to play on May 13th, time to be determined. But they will be playing on May 13th. So Stillman, who is in the Southern States Athletic Conference, will be transferring over to the HBCU AC next year as the only HBCU in. And the unique thing about Stillman getting into this tournament is they received an at-large, which means their whole body of work was taken into consideration. They did not receive an automatic bid. And I talked to Chris Meganson, the sports information director over there, and for what he and I were able to put together, this is the first time that we can find that the HBCU has received an at-large in the NAIA tournament. Talladega has made it. and Edward Waters have made it recently as members of the AII. That's the independents, but they receive automatics. So, and if somebody out there knows of an HBCU on the NAIA level who has received an at-large berth, key thing is at-large. Please let me know and put that in the chat, because we have not been able to find it, because the record keeping on the NAIA level is not the best.
No doubt about it. And speaking of the chat, shout out to the lab rats chiming in. Appreciate it. Brandon King, I saw you sneaking into the back of the lecture hall. That's 10 points off. But anyway, but shout out to all the lab rats chiming in tonight. I appreciate it. As always, a huge part of the show, along with co-host Wilton. Wherever you want to go, brother, because I talked about this the Minnesota Denver series.
Yep.
And I equated it to looking at the 2004 Pistons, where they play defense to the point where
it's exhausting.
Lead feels like a 20-point lead.
Yep.
Or the Lakers just never could just get close enough to get back. When I'm watching this series right now, once Minnesota got up, I said, "Oh, it's a wrap."
Yep.
Their defense is ridiculous. They're so long on the wings, and then the way that they're giving Murray just issues, for him just trying to find a shot. I don't know if there's a team out there that can knock them off right now.
Shout out to their defense, but the two players that come to my mind right away, Jaden McDaniels, Will Alexander Walker, they played their absolute tails off last night. When I say they had Jamal Murray in hell in pick and rolls, he didn't know what to do. It was like he saw ghosts everywhere. It's like, oh man, like I'm coming off this, I'm coming off this pick. What I would normally do and feel is like something that's just normal, how I would go through my normal progressions. He just looked like a different player the entire time. Like, I don't think, and y'all guys can correct me if I'm wrong, when I saw Nikola Jokic, I don't think I've ever seen him turn the ball over like I did yesterday.
Yeah. That was wild to take a look at.
Yeah, not only you talk about a player, you can't speed him up. He doesn't look like, we know he doesn't look like the typical athlete. He plays the game at his normal pace. And to see him turn the ball over, I think we had 4 turnovers in the first half.
Yeah, when old man game starts turning the ball over, just like, okay. Well, and then the frustration level. Not only are they going at the refs, but they tossing stuff on the court, man. Is it a wrap now after game 2?
I don't want to say it's a wrap yet. I still think it's going to be a series, but I'll tell you this, they are absolutely in trouble. They are in trouble because now they have to go to Minnesota, and that's a place that you don't necessarily want to play. And, I'll be the first to tell you, all season, as I continue to watch Minnesota grow and build that chemistry, I'm saying, okay, this is still a young team. They're getting into the playoffs. They won't know what this atmosphere feels like. They did all of that without Rudy Gobert last night.
They did that without Rudy Gobert. Here's something I want to throw out. Half man, the new half man, half amazing, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Is he overshadowing an even bigger performance over there in New York? Because Jalen Brunson has put up 4 straight 40-point games now. Yep. And it seems like it's floating under the radar. Like he's playing at a completely different level. And dare I say it, can the Knicks actually get to the NBA championship?
We gonna make sure we gonna try to see if they're gonna get to the Eastern Conference Finals first. We don't want to jinx it.
Right.
Yeah, they should have won last night.
Oh man, that's gonna be a pretty good series because they really do match up really well. When you take a look at Indiana and New York, but it's like every game is a dogfight watching the Knicks, and I don't know. It's just me. I don't know if my TV is just going louder or something when they're playing in the Garden. Because it's my wife had to tell me last night, turn that down. I'm like, is that a decent volume? That's just a crowd noise.
No, if you're a New York fan and you're in Madison Square Garden for this series and really just even in their first round, it has been loud there. But I kind of want to go back to your initial point. I don't think it's getting overshadowed. I just think what we're really seeing is that like Jalen Brunson, you've been hearing all season, like you're either one or two ways. you think he should have been in the MVP contention, or you feel like, oh, well, the player that he's playing like, he's doing this in the regular season and it'll fall off in the playoffs? You know, you've been hearing storylines saying like, well, the Knicks need another player besides Jalen Brunson because he's under a certain height. He's not going to be able to continue to do that. I think what you're getting is him still playing at a pretty dominant level. If they win this series, I think some of those talks and criticisms may silence a little bit. But if they don't win this series, then I can guarantee you the same talks that we've said about the Knicks for the last 25, 30 years will still be in prominent discussion.
And I can so see.
Go ahead. The question was Ant Edwards or Jalen Brunson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anthony Edwards, let's back up. For the last 3 seasons, Joker has been probably the top player in the league, the most unstoppable force in the league with his old man game, as Charles like to say.
Yep.
And Anthony Edwards is like, bruh, the rocket chair is in the house. Get off this court. And for him to go up and actually not speculate like we are about Brunson over there in the East.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking it to the man and beating the man one-on-one.
In his home place.
Exactly. So Ant Edwards right now is the man. And we're witnessing a change of the guard. You know, LeBron's getting old. Curry's getting old. You know, we got all these. KD is getting old. This is kind of like, you know, when we watched Bird, Doc, Magic, you know, start weighing off, and then we started seeing Pippen, Drexler, Jordan start going by the wayside. We're seeing another one of those transformations in the league.
And you know, that was my concern. I think I started to play. I was like, what's going to happen if LeBron is that doomsday?
Yeah.
If LeBron gets put out and Steph Curry, there's no Steph Curry. There's no
NBA gonna be all right, bro.
But
NBA gonna be all right. We asked the same question with Doc. We asked the same question when Doc was getting old. We asked the same question when Larry had the bad back. We asked the same question with Jordan, with Elijah Wan, with Shaq, with Duncan. We've always asked that question. And before we could even fill out A, B, C, or D on our multiple choice test, somebody has came and taken the league over. Ant Edwards, next man up. Jalen Brunson, next man up.
No doubt about it, man. I tell you what, it's exciting stuff, man. I'm looking forward to however this thing plays out the rest of going into June. We'll take our last break, and then we'll go 6-4-3. We'll see what we got going around the horn with my group here tonight. We'll be right back here on Inside HBCU Sports Lab.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
All right, last couple of minutes here of the show. Let's see if we can turn this double play and get out of this thing with no damage. Wilton, final thoughts. What you got, brother?
This week softball tournament is, as we already discussed. I'm actually excited to see if Prairie View is going to be able to come out. I think it will be their fourth consecutive softball tournament championship swag tournament if they win. So I'm interested to see if Coach Bland can put that together. So I'm excited to see what that's going to turn out to be.
AD Drew, let's see if you can turn it.
Outside of seeing if FAMU can break their Prairie View streak, I want to tell everybody to go back to yesterday's BCSN SportsWrap and go back to segment 2 when we interviewed Dr. A. Zachary Faison, president of Edward Waters University. And let me tell y'all something, everybody. That was an impromptu interview. Dr. Faison was not scheduled. We saw him in the chat. We sent a message to him if you want to come on. Anytime you see people of that level in your chat and you have an opportunity, you have room on your show, you want to try to bring them in. He came on about 10 minutes later. We had about a 30-minute conversation. And the key thing that I want everybody to take away from that conversation is when you have a president who understands athletics, is invested in athletics, and understands what it does for his university, along with his own personal passion that he has, not only for his university and the academics at his university, but for his student athletes. That is what I wish all of our HBCUs were about. The way he's been able to go out and raise money to make the capital improvements. I mean, the man has only had a stadium built on his watch. Has only had a tennis court built on his watch. Has only had a gym, his basketball arena renovated on his watch. And the city is redoing his baseball and his softball fields right now. I think that's a lot that a man can do. So if you did not see it live yesterday, and those questions that Brian and I were asking were straight off the dome. We had no script. We had no knowledge he was coming on. So go back and watch that and learn about what a lot of us wish our presidents at our universities, and I'll be the first one to say, including my beloved Florida A&M, I wish our president had the same type of attitude and mentality that Dr. A. Zachary Faison had. And thank you, Dr. Faison, for coming on and taking time out of your schedule for an unscheduled interview.
Great turn, AD. That was a heck of a turn in terms of talking about Dr. Faison there, man. Really appreciated that. Man, great show tonight. We talked a little bit about Margaret Richards presser. We talked about the Black College World Series, talked a little bit about the NBA playoffs. You guys did a tremendous job in terms of bringing it hot and heavy, as usual, another week here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Again, big shout out, big thank you to the lab rats for checking in, providing great commentary. Last thing, let it not go unseen or unknown. Bethune-Cookman took 2 of 3 from FAMU this past weekend. There were a lot of rainouts, but
yep.
Let that go unseen and unknown. Let's let that one go. Hey, but we still got a 1-game lead. We still got a 1-game lead. What? With two series left? Two series left? 1-game lead. Yeah, and honestly, it's gonna be fun coming down the stretch.
It is.
It's gonna be fun, and regardless of what happens these last 2 series, I can't wait to get to Atlanta and see these teams go heads up.
Yeah. No doubt about it. It is going to be a Donnybrook in Atlanta. Looking forward to the Swag Baseball tournament at the end of this month, man. But another great show, guys. Really appreciate it. You know how we close things out. I'll start things off. Course, AD.
Lecture.
Wilton.
Lecture.
Oh, here we go again.
Dismiss this thing, dog.
We out of here.